your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell at before you blow up a plane.
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, good thing to say I dabbled in stand-up or something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. What's up, boys and girls? Welcome to the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, Rumble, Rockfin, all the places where you can hear podcasts. That's where I'll be. I'm everywhere. I got a lot of stand-up shows. Before I bring in my fabulous guest, I want to mention some stand-up shows that I'll be doing on the road. Guys, next weekend is DabbleCon. It's really come up on us. Next weekend, I'll be in Rochester, New York for DabbleCon. What is DabbleCon, you ask? It was basically kind of like an inside joke started by me, really, when I had Stuttering John on my podcast a couple years ago. God, it was either 2020 or 2021. Had him on. I said, do you like dabble in comedy? And he got so triggered. And then the nickname just stuck. They just kept calling him the Dabbler. So now we have a whole convention of everybody who likes to sort of have fun with Stuttering John. We're all gathering together in Rochester, New York next weekend, February 3rd and 4th. There'll be a live stand-up show. You can see myself, Bob Levy, Anthony Cumia, Shuli Egar, Carl Hamburger. A lot of people will be there, and then we do a meet and greet, and we have a Dabby Awards. I don't know what the heck that's going to be like, but it's going to be really fun next weekend. Then I'll be heading to California at the end of February, headlining in Pasadena Thursday, February 23rd. Lila Hart will be opening for me. I will be at an Elks Lodge. Yeah, baby. Bring on the old men. I can't wait. Then I'm going to San Diego for a weekend, Friday, February 24th, and Saturday, February 25th. At the Mic Drop Comedy Club in San Diego. Lila Hart will be joining me for these shows as well. I'm so stoked. We might do a little LA. Who knows? It's all coming together. Then I'll be going to the beautiful and exotic The Reef in Staten Island, Friday, April 7th. That's at Paradise Island. I'll be headlining that show. You can buy tickets at the door for that one. Then I'm heading to Jersey that next day, Saturday, April 8th. I'll be headlining Tiff's in Morris Plains. This is probably my favorite club in Jersey. They have great food, great drinks. I love Tiff's. Then I'm going to Anime Matsuri in August, the 10th through the 13th. Simpcast will have a presence at this convention. We'll be doing a panel, a booth. Other Simpcast girls will be there. To be determined. We're not sure who's going to come yet, but I know that I'll be there. And then I'm headlining in Houston that same weekend, Friday, August 11th. I'll be at the Secret Group. So if you're planning on going to this convention, it just makes sense to come to this comedy show. We're all going to hang. We're all going to drink. This could be the unofficial after party. Yeah, I'm very excited. Things are happening, guys. Okay, so I'm so excited to have this guest on because one of the themes I love talking about on this show, and I love having guests on who sort of, if we're speaking broadly, like suffer from cancel culture, or their beliefs outside of work affect their job, which they never should. But, we're in 2023, so, and the internet exists, so everybody can see everything. So I have a guest on today who has dealt with sort of really basically losing a job over cancel culture, over the things, over her outside interests or her perceived social media following. She is the former community manager of Limited Run Games. She's also dabbled in streaming. She is a dabbler. Welcome to the show, Carolyn. Hello. How are
Hello.
you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
I'm so thrilled that you're here because I heard about your story and I think I hit you up right away. And, correct me if I'm wrong, like you're not someone who's constantly doing a lot of podcasts. And I'm sure
No.
everybody was coming at you wanting to talk to you about this. And you were just kind of like, all right, I'm not ready right now. I need a moment to collect my thoughts. I'm going to put out a statement. So I'm just so happy that you took that time that you needed and that you now do want to speak about your experience, getting fired from limited run games. So I guess if in your own words, if you want to describe basically what was going on, your position at this company, what was the circumstances leading up to, this moment of, I guess, getting fired or the controversy around it. Like you can talk about how you found this job. Were was this always your, I guess, your interest as far as employment goes?
So I actually Limited Run was my first real step into the gaming industry. I had volunteered at various events like gaming conventions before, and I used to write for a gaming news and review website back in the day. And but this is that was my first actual like step into the industry.
Mhm.
And a friend of mine had told me about Limited Run because I actually had never heard of it before. And I reached out and I was just like, hey, like this is the experience I have. I'd love to try and see what I can do. And 2
And what
years.
does a Oh,
Oh,
sorry, finish
go
what
ahead,
you're
go ahead, go
saying.
ahead.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
like, what does a community I've never worked in gaming. But I've had tons of desk jobs. I worked in corporate media. I worked in like all kinds of corporate regular day jobs. But what was your job for limited run? What did it entail?
So I would answer a lot of like the social comments on like on the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, Reddit, all that kind of stuff. Or at least everything that I could. As many like because a lot of people are as I see in the chat right now, am I ever getting my collectors Ninja Turtles? Uh, I can't tell you that
Do you
anymore.
know this guy? Do you know the admiral?
I do not, but I do know what they're talking about.
Oh, was someone promised a Nintendo Switch Collector's Ninja Turtle pack?
Well, they did a collector's edition for the Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge. And it's a pretty cool collector's edition. And it's just taken a little bit longer than expected to finish production.
Maybe
And
Shredder's revenge is that you're never gonna get your thing. Maybe that's the revenge. Okay, cool. So you're managing like, yeah, the social media, the comments.
Mhm.
I guess your job would be to look for like if I don't know if there's anything crazy going on in the
Mhm.
comments or anything like super inappropriate, I guess.
Yeah, I'd always go through and I'd pass along any feedback that I saw, whether it be like quality of a product or a I guess a suggestion on how we could handle things differently in the business, that kind of stuff. I'd also work directly with the developers to host live streams. So I would actually interview a lot of the developers that we were working with to do the physical editions of the games. And I think that was the most fun I had with it, was getting to have like this one-on-one and like really have the chance to sit down and talk about game development, talk about like their interests and their inspirations and how they even got into the gaming industry because it's different for everybody.
So you worked pretty closely with the developers. Like, would it be tweaking existing games or like to me it seems so daunting like why you're thinking of just like a brand new game. I know nothing about the gaming. I'm like the more I talk, the more retarded I sound.
So Limited Run, basically what they do is take digital games or retro games and put them on modern platforms or
Ah.
either redo the games, but like Zombies Ate My Neighbors was one that was on
I'm
the
sorry to hear that. They should have known. They should have prepared better.
and it was one of those that we had decided to redo as a like brand new cartridge that would still work in like retro consoles. So if
Cool.
like you had a Super Nintendo still, you could still stick it in the console and it'd work.
Cool. I was big into Sega Genesis. I never had a Nintendo or any of the Nintendos. Like I had some neighbor boys that I would go over there and I'd see them just blowing into their Nintendo and I was like jealous of that weirdly. I just was like, I had like such Nintendo envy. And
Well,
the
I
only
never
game
had the Genesis, so
okay. And I was obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. My brother would sort of play the Indiana Jones game, but that was like really it. Like we really just had those 2 games. Like I never thought to ask my parents for more games. I just was like, I guess I'm just gonna get better at Sonic. But then I sort of like lost interest in video games. But now I look back, it's because we had 2 games.
I was very fortunate that I grew up in a family that was just like really supportive of like video games. Like I used to have to fight my mom for the Super Nintendo to play because she
Aw.
wanted to play Dr. Mario.
Wow. Did you have like a young, cool mom? My parents could not have been less interested in video games.
My parents were super supportive, like and like to the point to where so she didn't have to share the Super Nintendo with me. She bought me my own Game Boy Color, and that like
Wow.
so that
What
got me
color was it?
into it was a purple one.
That's legit. My brother had a regular, just gray Game Boy, but I would just be like over his shoulder watching him play like Dr. Mario and what was it? Well, yeah, of course, Tetris. Those are really the main ones. Do, 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 do.
Oh God.
Do, 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 do.
You're giving me flashbacks right now.
I
I
would
don't
love
appreciate
to make
that.
I would love to make that a ringtone.
Oh God, no, please.
So
You
you've
can
been
have
like
that for yourself.
that's gonna give you PTSD. So you've been like kind of a lifelong gamer.
Oh yeah.
It's so interesting because your drama with limited run games happened, well, I guess after the beginning of the start of the G4 drama. Were you following that closely? Did you know the old G4? Were you aware of the new G4?
I actually never watched old G4 or new G4. I think
Yeah,
I'd
because you're
seen it
young.
once.
I feel like it was before your time.
I met Chris Gore on on chance once at a convention, but
Oh,
I
cool.
didn't know who he was at the time. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay, that's cool."
Yeah, I met him before and like became friendly with him before I realized he was part of old G4. So that's so interesting. What was your like were you aware of the whole Frost situation? What was your did you have a like an opinion on her and like how her whole
I had no idea who it was.
okay.
I'd never heard of her. I think the only cuz wasn't like Golden Boy on there or something. I think
I
Golden
don't
Boy or
even
Courage or one of them, one of the streamers. That's the only person who I really knew was on the new G4. That's
okay.
really
So you
it.
didn't hear about her whole like sexism and gaming rant and
I
like
heard about it, but I'm one of the I try to stay out of the drama as much as
yeah.
possible.
That's the best thing to do. You have to be professional. Yeah. If it
Like
doesn't pertain to your job, like it's better to not if you don't need to publicly express feelings on something, it's like, why do it?
exactly.
So, it's so interesting. Okay, so then I'm gonna share this article, and you can tell me how much of it is right or wrong. I like bounding into comics. They seem to have a pretty, even keel. Like, they don't seem super I don't know, right or left, but what do I know? I just like their coverage of things that happen in the gaming industry. And this all happened like beginning. This all happened this month still.
Mhm.
Um, Limited Run Games fires community manager after BronyCon founder draws outrage from her history of tweets on transgender ideology. So it's like 2022, 2023 for some reason, the trans stuff is such a hot button issue, but you would think, what does that have to do with my job? Seemingly nothing. Limited Run Games fired their community manager after a Twitter user drew outrage from her tweets on transgender ideology and who she followed. To
I
me,
think
I
that was
thought,
the biggest thing was that
yeah,
of who I followed.
Right. I don't think you're like tweeting very much about it. It was more just like this person got upset with who you're following, which is like, dude, I feel like this all could have been so avoided. It's like people just make trouble for themselves. Like they just want to make drama for the sake of drama to feel that they're important. So Twitter user Purple Tinker started the outcry by highlighting tweets made by Carolyn, the community manager for limited run games. Carolyn 0326. Does that mean you're an Aries?
Yes.
Aries are great. They're good leaders. Is a transphobe who follows a veritable who's who of right-wing transphobic creeps. Which this now calling somebody a right-wing transphobic creep literally like it means nothing. It's all these insults are so overused. It's just there's not that much bang for your buck insult wise. Tinker insisted herself trans. Did you know who this Purple Tinker person was before
I've
all these
never
tweets?
interacted with them before.
They called you a transphobe who follows, basically had a problem with people you were following, which is like, dude, you need to get a life. Like if someone that you don't even know, you become obsessed with who they're following on Twitter, it's like you need some more hobbies. Unless and until she is fired from the company permanently. Oh, as opposed to what a semi-permanent firing, like firing is pretty permanent. Until she's fired, I am not giving them another single dime. CW, which means I don't know.
Like, is that content warning or something? I don't
Cunt
know.
warning. The cunt warning. Transphobia, and then my God, they're doing basically like a Charlie from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with all the red lines. But basically, this person takes a bunch of your tweets. This one where you said, if you think the number of trans crying about using a bathroom is higher than the pervs using the excuse, you are what is wrong with the world. I agree with this completely. This, I think, is a safe take, but they circled
This
it.
wasn't even a knock at the trans.
No.
I personally don't feel like it was. It was more of.
In fact, yeah, you're not even.
I feel like I was almost defending them.
You're not even
way.
saying trans pervs. You're just saying
No.
regular pervs.
Mm-hmm. Because there's people out there.
There are. Yeah. Let's see. This is so blurry. It's like, and then
That's Blair White, who
Blair White
is trans.
Blair White, yeah. She's great. And they see here that you follow Blair White, who tweets, too young to get a tattoo, too young to get a piercing, too young to buy alcohol, too young to buy cigarettes, too young to buy a firearm. Want to remove your penis? Who is society to get in your way? Excellent take. Great take. Good tweet. But it's a big problem that you follow. You must be transphobic if you're following Blair White, a trans person. Okay, that makes sense. And this is so blurry. I can't even see what this one says, but this is apparently another problematic, blurry person that you follow. And same down here.
That one's Libs of TikTok.
Libs of TikTok. So problematic. They're so problematic. All they do is literally mirror what the left is saying. They just repost and they're a problem apparently. And then Ian Miles Chong, who like just he's lives in Malaysia, but like very much obsessed with American culture and news and is always commenting on it. But same thing. I would call Ian like maybe I don't know what he identifies as, but like more maybe libertarian, more of an independent. If he's anything, maybe he's more right wing, but definitely an anti-leftist or an anti-woke. Across multiple screenshots, including one showing she had canceled over $1,200 in pre-orders. Tinker, oh my God, that is so lame. Oh, you don't get my $1,200. Tinker highlighted Lynne's tweet regarding transgender people using the Wayback Machine. The archived tweets included like, why does this person have it out for you? It's almost like, to me, it thinks like I think like, did this person apply for your job and not get it, and then like hang on to it like years later, be like, oh, I got her, If you think the number of trans crying about just basically, reiterating your tweet about the pervs. A 2019 conversation was also highlighted. Lynne is seemingly discussing Niall Boylan's interview with Jessica Yavin, a trans person who drew outcry after being refused waxing on their dick and balls. We all remember that.
Let me preface this. this whole conversation, I was a cosmetologist for 10 years before
Oh
I
my
got
God.
in
See, you can speak on
to
this then.
I can, because this was one. So the Jessica Yaniv one was, we all know that story
Oh, they
about
misspelled it. Yeah, it's Yaniv. It's not Yavin.
I can almost understand why the person didn't feel comfortable waxing that area on a person. I was like, my response to that was, I was never trained to do that on a male's
Parts.
genitals.
Yeah.
I never was. And I personally would feel safer to not do it and not possibly hurt somebody.
Yeah, nobody wants to rip open a sack. No one's prepared for that.
That was and like, you can even see that, where I honestly don't feel like all trans women are predators like that. I don't. I
Right.
absolutely don't. It's more of, you've got to think about your safety and their safety.
Right. And let's say you're like, okay, don't make a fuss. I'm going to wax this dick and balls that you haven't been trained to do because it's not a normal thing.
And I was
And
actually put in a situation like this in my first year of working at a spa. So
wow.
it's one that
What did you do?
I told the customer that I wasn't able to perform this service because I wasn't
Yeah.
trained on it, and I didn't want to put them in a uncomfortable situation.
And they have male spas. I've seen at least one in New York City. Like if any place can wax your balls, like it's a specifically titled, male salon. Go there.
Yeah, it was one that I could resonate with because I had been in a similar situation.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Yeah, and it's like, oh, you don't want to get hot wax on a taint or get wax in a dick hole. Like I would be nervous. I would just be like, and then you don't want like okay, this is my first time doing this. Something goes horribly wrong. You rip
Yeah.
off skin. It's like, what was it? The 40-year-old virgin. It's like,
Oh God. The chest wax.
yeah. And then it's so painful. This person has to go to the emergency room. Whose fault is it then? Oh, well, I didn't want to be transphobic. So, but sorry, one of your balls is gone. Okay, so you spoke on this because you used to work in that area. I truly believe that not all trans women have that intention, but the sad thing is, in this age of media, people will take advantage of what they can to obtain what they want while still looking like the victim. Yeah, that's reasonable. I mean, that was a tweet of yours from 2019. Initially, Tinker seemed to focus on who Lynne followed on Twitter. All individuals who either had a history of being critical to trans matters, such as the age a child is taught about it or having a sex change, to those who may just have had comments once. Jesus. This person sounds like just such a bully off the bat. Like, really, none of this is there. They're making it their business to make a scene. This includes Twitter user Libs of TikTok, Blair White, Eden Miles Chong, Gled Beck, Ariel Scarcella. By the way, Ariel Scarcella, fucking cool lesbian.
Yeah.
Not textbook right winger. Not like, she's clearly not conservative if she's a lesbian. So and Gina Carano, like, to me, this is it's not like, oh, she's following Nick Fuentes and Milo Yiannopoulos.
I don't know who those people are.
Exactly. Gina Carano, she's literally, my God, she's like a free speech advocate. And isn't it funny? You and Gina Carano basically get fired for similar shit. While Tinker only focused on that, it seems Lynne caught attention. Wayback Machine show her tweets had been archived over 10,000 times, though it should be noted this includes duplicates. I don't really understand that part.
I don't understand that either.
Over 8 hours after Tinker's initial tweet, Limited Run Games revealed they had fired Lynne. LRG respects all personal opinions. However, we remain committed to supporting an inclusive culture. Upon investigating a situation, an employee was terminated. Our goal as a company is to continue to foster a positive and safe environment. What about a positive and safe environment for the fucking employees? What about being inclusive of what you believe? This is not inclusive. This is not inclusivity. This shit to me is like, we are preferring one group over another. We are preferring the minority over the majority because the minority is more threatening and more of a bully and is louder and more annoying, and we can get sued over this. So how did how did Limited Run Games break this news to you? Were you called into an office? Like,
I
what
was
time of
actually
day was it?
working from home that day, because I had been sick. I'd had a really bad cold, and I'd been working from home that whole week. And I'd reached out to a couple of people just to be like, "Hey, I see that this is going around. I would love to know what to do. Like, I'm just kind of sitting here twiddling my thumbs because every time a post goes out, like people are starting to dogpile on it." I was like, I don't want to draw any more attention to people saying, "Well, you're obviously ignoring this, but why aren't you commenting on it?" I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm not
Damn.
going to touch it until I get some guidance. Um, and then around 4:30 that afternoon, I got a request to go into a call, and that's where I got the news.
So this purple trinket, whatever the fuck their name is like tweeting out, "Oh, this community manager follows problematic people. They're tweeting your old tweets." This is all happening like during your workday. This is starting to blow up all in one day, and you're literally fired in that same day.
Mhm.
That seems rash to me. That seems way too quick to jump to a conclusion over what one customer. Like, who the fuck is this person? Why are they so important? Why is this one person's opinion more important than you, your whole job, everything you've brought to this company? How long had you been working there for?
Just a little over 2 years.
Yeah, you've been a good employee. If you sucked, you wouldn't have made it 6 months. So it's like, you're a good employee. You've been there 2 years. But apparently this one person's point of view on Twitter is more important than you doing a good job. It's so retarded. Um, Thus far, it appears the actions of Limited Run Games have only generated more outcry. Recent tweets by the company have had replies disabled. That's
Still
not a good
are.
sign. Still are.
It's been 3 weeks.
They're still hiding from people's feedback on this, with the last tweet with comments on January 7th filled with users declaring they would boycott the company. Isn't that short-sighted? They freak out, they panic because one customer is bullying them, and I bet they're losing way more. Losing way more money with what they did to you than by you know what I mean? Like, make this one noisy Twitter loser happy.
I think if they never would have tweeted anything about it, it would have there would have never been any publicity about it.
It was the Streisand effect. In turn, Purple Tinker, which is not a real person. You know what I mean? Like, there's no face, there's no name. This is just a thing. The purple trinket has had more scrutiny put on her. In addition to being mocked as the founder of BronyCon, along with their general appearance, other individuals online dug into her history of harassing, manipulating, and bullying. So this person's had a history of doing this. This
There's
person
a
probably
whole Tumblr page that is cataloged by what they have done.
Wow. So this person gets off on the feeling of power. Ooh, that I could bully someone, that I could fire somebody, get somebody to lose their job. They probably loved that they got you fired.
Oh, they bragged about it.
It's ridiculous. Both
I'm
people and
blocked,
organizations.
but
Maybe I'm blocked.
I'm blocked,
Purple
but they bragged about it.
Tinker. I wonder if I'm blocked. Oh, tweets are protected. If it's just Purple Tinker straight up, then the tweets are protected now.
Oh, did they?
Oh,
Oh.
PRPLTNKR. Never mind. Let's look at that one. PRPL.
I admit, I'm trying to give this person as little publicity as possible because they are
Okay.
probably just eating it up.
Okay.
And I personally don't feel like they deserve it.
No.
Whether
They
it's
suck.
positive or negative.
No,
Like,
this is a coward. This is a coward move right here. Everything this person's doing. Okay. So basically they call you at around 4:30 and they say what? Like, we have to let you go because of
mhm.
this one person's problem?
Yeah.
Did they say, like, "You're problematic," like, we are concerned about who you follow on Twitter," but more like, "We're concerned that
No,
they're
they
concerned."
didn't care who I followed. They didn't care at all. Like, they know who I am. They know who I
Yeah.
am as a person and what my values are. But
Yeah, apparently that's not enough. It sounds like they got scared, they made a rash decision, and they probably really regret it because this has
they
been
do.
very noisy.
I've spoken to a couple people and they do. They definitely regret it.
Wow. How does that make you feel?
It's bittersweet because the biggest thing that really bothers me in this whole thing is there are small indie developers out there that are getting hurt by this. Indie developers that don't deserve to be stuck in the middle of this and have their sales being like freaking lowered by probably thousands. And that's my biggest thing is that like I'm the one who always fights for the little guy. And the developers that are out there, the ones that have contracts, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve to be in the middle of all this. And it to me it really sucks because I I know it looks like I'm defending LRG, but I'm more defending the indie devs who are losing money over this.
So not only did they come after you, they came after other people you'd worked with, like the developers.
It's more of all of the backlash is inadvertently hurting the developers.
Wow. See, that's how I know you're a good person because you're like, even in this horrible situation, which like fucked you over, you're still thinking of others, which just shows that, like that's like a sign of a good employee and a team player.
I care about them. I do. I've met some amazing people in the industry, and they don't deserve to be stuck in the middle of all of this.
Yeah, especially when the person who's doing it is like talking about age of consent, like like children can, you know what I mean, consent to adult things, teens deserve respect. Like all of this is not going in a good direction. Like whenever you have somebody arguing like, "Oh, kids need to be sexually active younger." That's never good. And that seems to be what this person is arguing for. They discussed a hypothetical situation where a 14-year-old was with a 28-year-old teacher. Yeah, like this is not somebody uh who seems with it. They seem a little twisted and gross. All these tweets came to light. As these tweets came to light, Tinker didn't deny their validity, doubled down. Again, so this person is not an upstanding model citizen, to say the least. Some
Correct.
claims of supporting grooming and pedo stuff, otherwise insisting limited run games did the right thing and that they had received abuse because of what they did. Again, just making about them. This person will always be a victim, and they seem to get a rush out of getting people fired or bullying others. Announcing, along with the denouncing the claims as coming from hard right extremists who are dragging out the old tired cliche of all the LGBTQ plus people being pedos and groomers, Tinker notes how she acted as a whistleblower, objecting to an alleged pedo being hired to work at BronyCon. All right, so it's a sus person. Wow. So if you looking back, like if you were to go back, like if you could rewind or turn back the clock, you're back at your job. Would you change anything? Would you hide your views? Did you feel like your political views were really even out there in
Mm-mm.
discussing with coworkers? Like, were you tweeting it? Do you feel like you were tweeting anything particularly political?
I personally actually actively avoided anything political, anything even controversial on my own Twitter on my own time because I do know that I was representing a company. And given
Wow.
the tweet that I had posted was 4 years before I even had started at Limited Run.
Yeah. So it's like, why did this person decide to fixate on you? the only thing I can think of is like, yeah, they
I
either
think that they
wanted
were
the
going
job.
after limited run, and I was an easy target.
Okay. They just wanted to take down the whole company, or I don't know, be offered an what was it that that Ninja Turtle thing that guy was mentioning? Where's my stuff? So you were
I will
already being
admit, I'm
careful.
kind of the funniest thing about all this is I was already stepping down as being community manager. I had expressed in the previous months that I was like I had even tweeted, "Hey, the community manager position is now going to be open. Here's the link to apply."
Wow.
I
I
tweeted
wonder
that. When did I tweet that? It was like in December, I think.
wow.
Oh gosh, when was that? That was
Charlie
um
Stevenson thinks that Tinker wanted free stuff for being offended. 'Cause they did
probably.
say, "Oh, I charged back my $1,200 purchase," or
Mhm.
whatever. What was it?
So on December 9th, I had shared a link to a ZipRecruiter link. It says, "Hey, we're hiring for a new community manager."
Let me see, can you send me that tweet? Or let's see, if I go to your, Twitter, can I maybe I can just scroll down on it so people can see.
Here, I will send it to you in the private chat.
Okay. Oh, wait, you said December 26th?
9th.
Oh, Drew. Okay. Alright, it's probably coming up soon. Here we go. Yeah, December 9th. We're hiring for a new CM. I'm still here at LRG and not going anywhere, just moving to a new position within the marketing team. And it's you quote tweeting, Limited Run is hiring for a community manager. You'd be working on my team to support some of the best physical CEs in gaming. What is a CE?
Collector's edition.
Oh, in gaming for franchises like Star Wars, Doom, Castlevania, and more. Flex your passion for modern and retro gaming. If that sounds, and you're retweeting this. You're probably gonna have to train the new community manager. You're
Mhm.
clearly staying with the company. You're invested. This is like a healthy situation. Like, I love limited run games. I'm gonna probably train the new person, but I'm just gonna move on to a new role.
Mhm. I was getting burnt out on social media.
Yeah.
Like, I was getting DMs from people at 2 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock at night, and like asking where their stuff is. And it was a a lot of the stuff, like all of the DMs that we would get were extremely negative and very aggressive.
Really? Like,
And
what would they say?
basically just calling us con artists and say like being straight up liars with I will say that production on collector's editions of games is extremely complicated. Like it goes like there's what I had on the Reddit one time, it was recent. I was trying to explain like some of the steps of why collector's editions take so long to produce because I mean, especially on bigger titles like AAA titles like Star Wars and Doom, like you've got to have the conversations with the developers. What do they want? What can we offer? Let's start doing some mock-ups, and then those have to go through approvals, and then you've got to talk to manufacturers, and then you've got to get all the samples, and if the samples aren't right you have to tweak that, and it's just it was a lot more complicated situation than I think a lot of people really understood.
Wow.
And so I can understand the frustration because the communication wasn't as good as I would have liked. I always tried to be as candid and as transparent as possible. But of course, there were some like details and such that I was unable to disclose. So it's just I can understand. I People's frustrations were valid, but it was to the point to I was looking at angry messages from the time I woke up until the time
Jeez.
I logged off. And it along with everything else that's going on in the world, like I needed to step away from it because it was just coming at me from every side.
Yeah, it sounds like it just became a lot. And I'm looking through your Twitter, Kara. It's like I'm not seeing any spicy takes. You're like, oh, you tweeted about Black Friday and wanting to buy a coffee maker. You're tweeting about, oh, this is a tough time of year for a lot of people. I hope you're not alone. Take care of yourself. Like, you're not, there's no spicy takes on your timeline. There's nothing political here. You're Twitch streaming. You're talking about games. This is not this is not looking like, oh, a problematic Twitter. Like, you're very much on brand, talking about games. Witcher. It's your birthday.
My whole wall back here is all Witcher stuff. My favorite game.
My God, I should introduce you to Az from Friday Night Tights. He's obsessed. Henry Cavill. Again, like, everything you're tweeting about has to do with your job and your interests. You're not like Trump 2024. Like, even if you were, you still shouldn't have gotten fired. But like, you'd have to really dig to look for some kind of political leaning on you.
And I went through my tweets. I was like, have I said things that make me seem like I went through everything. I went through like,
yeah, Kara, you got a laser cutter for Christmas. That definitely means you're alt-right.
No, that just means my husband loves me and supports my crafts.
I don't know. Talking about Twitch. And then thanking people for reaching out. You're like a sweetheart. Like, you have a very kind of like not crazy or political or spicy Twitter presence. So this person really had to have it out for either like you specifically, or what you're saying is the company in general. They had it out for limited run games. They probably stalked the profiles of how many employees.
So you want to hear something? I haven't shared this with anybody yet, but I got a DM. I think it was yesterday. It was on Monday. And it says, do you regret banning me from the LRG Discord now? Could have avoided this.
Who is that from?
I'm not going to say. I don't want to give them the...
Okay. But someone yesterday said, do you regret banning me from the Limited Run Games Discord? So this could have all been about getting banned from a Discord. Yes. Imagine how small and pathetic and flimsy of a person you have, how fragile an ego you must have to have been banned from a Discord and then I need to go scorched earth and get someone fired from their job. What a fucking loser.
And it was not from Purple Tinker. Purple Tinker, I was banned. I was blocked from their stuff before the tweet about me being fired even went out.
But they might know or have the same, I don't know.
They were probably given a scoop.
Yeah, that's what happens. Like, people kind of send others out to do their dirty work. But these are the actions of very small people. It's so sad. Like, you have to feel bad for these people.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be fine, Kara. You're talented and smart and personable, and you acted so professionally in your job. Like, I know that feeling of like, oh, I've had jobs where I like slowly let my personality out and then I eventually get fired. But like, you were doing such a good job of like keeping it. It's not even like you seem to have any crazy views. Like, you're not what they would call problematic in the biz. Almanac, thanks for becoming a new member. It's just the tiniest thing. Oh, who you follow.
Not anybody that I had even liked or retweeted. Just the fact that I followed them.
That's so, I feel like if I'm Limited Run Games, I must be so embarrassed to have, this is like a flying off the hand. They should have slept on it. Somebody should have told these people, hey, maybe sleep on it. Maybe like one insane person online complaining isn't worth losing a valuable employee. John Thomas, thank you for the super chat. War Machine, thank you for the $10 super chat. Dalamar, thanks for the $20 super chat. They are going to keep regretting it. This East German Stasi is going to stop. They want to play T Commissar. Then let's play. This is why we can't have nice things. Dear leftists, stay out of gaming. What do you think of this?
It's definitely been an interesting situation. Like, and I can't be bitter about it because they tried to ruin my life when the absolute opposite thing happened.
Yeah.
So they've got to be sitting there just like stewing over this, and that's what keeps me kind of going.
Yeah. It had the absolute opposite effect. Like that's like it's really a sign that the public opinion is really turning. I think it sucks because it gives, I guess, like real trans people who are victimized, who are having a tough time, a bad name, because you see people like Purple Trinket or whoever their gang is, or people like that. It goes, wow, it makes you want to take them a lot less seriously. I feel like and this is horrible. It's like you should never lose your patience for any group of people, but it's actions like this and getting people fired that makes people lose their patience for a certain group of people, and it makes us take you less seriously. It makes you less concerned with your complaints. It makes you seem not really like victims. It makes you seem like bullies who won't shut up until you get your way. It makes you seem like children.
It's
And
a
so it's like,
toddler throwing a tantrum.
yeah, it's
That's
like you're
all it
having
is.
the opposite effect, mega Streisand effect. I mean, did you get what kind of negative blowback did you get from all this? Or would you say that it was just mostly positive and supportive?
It was like, I'd say it's like 98% positive. Like, I've
Wow.
had a few like death threats and stuff, but
A few death threats, nothing
just a
crazy.
few. Which, believe it or not, I'd get those by working at LRG already. So
For what reason? Did they deem LRG to be like a transphobic company or something? Or was it deemed
no,
right
it's just
wing?
because they didn't get their games when they wanted them.
That's it?
Yeah.
It wasn't seen as like anti-woke or something? Oh my God. That's insane.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you let mentally ill people steer the ship. You end up losing great employees, and then your company gets horrible press for it. So it's like, I guess every company has to learn that lesson.
Yeah. It's definitely been I think it's an eye opener for companies that it's a lot more beneficial to back up your team, back up the people that you know. Just be like, "Hey, you may have this opinion of this person, but that doesn't mean that you're correct.
Right.
Like, you have the right to that opinion, but you do not have the right to control these companies."
Mhm. Right, because who are you to them? You're not this person doesn't sound like a stockholder or an investor or like a C-level executive. It's like, this is some dumb fuck online of very questionable background. So it's almost like as a company, it's like, yeah, you interviewed and hired this person and they've been working for you for 2 years. You're going to tell me that this total stranger knows better than you, people who are working with this girl? It's insane to me. It's so backwards, but I'm sure they've learned a valuable lesson. Did you experience this type of discrimination like before working at this company or in this industry or in any other industry you'd worked in?
No, not really. Before this, I was an office assistant for a company, and it was nice and quiet. And like I said, this was my first job in the industry, and it
Oh, right,
was
before this, you were you waxed not balls.
well. I only worked at a spa. I only worked in like with women's uh services for like 2 to 3 years, and then the rest after that, I focused on doing men's hair.
Oh,
Because
right,
men
you were
are
in the spa for 10 years, but
yes,
okay.
yeah. I mainly focus after I did women's services for about 3 years, and then I exclusively went and worked at a salon that did men's hair because men are so much easier to deal with.
I mean, like the upper half, right? Yeah. Like, I'll work with your head hair. I'm not going near your pubes, okay? The pubes you can handle on your own, please,
Yes.
and thank you. Oh my god, it's just so funny. It's almost like be like, "Sure, I can wax your balls, but, like, I do have Tourette's, so I may make a sudden movement, like, I might, I get jumpy. I get jumpy around
Oh god.
penises, just warning you." Ugh. Master Austin, thank you for the super sticker. Richard Simmons, Kara is giving me Jewel, late 90s singer. Yes, we know who Jewel is. Giving me Jewel vibes, considering any kind of legal action.
No.
I think you
No.
covered that in your you
In
did
my
put out a
statement.
statement.
Yeah.
That must have
I
It's good that you did that. Like, just kind of get all your thoughts together. It's
mhm.
on Twit longer. I think you have this linked, or it's at least in your Twitter thread somewhere.
It is not a Highlander sword. That's Witcher's. That's a Geralt's swords from The Witcher. I have the silver sword and the steel sword. So.
Wait, sword chat. Let's see these swords.
Oh gosh. So we've got the silver sword, which is this one.
They're not both silver? They both look
Well,
shiny.
one of them has like runes and shit on it and then we've got
Ooh.
the which is used for monsters, and
Of
then you've
course.
got the steel sword that is used for non-monsters. And then
And I know from Scarlet Witch that runes are like little spells. It's
yes.
like a spell drawing.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that's my
Like,
my
"My
number one.
sword! My sword, it's ruined." Ugh, is that the nerdiest joke I've ever made? It might be. AH, does Chrissy and everyone for that matter not know that customer service people regularly get death threats? I mean, I've never worked in customer service. I've been a receptionist, I've been an assistant, I've been an executive assistant, I've been all kinds of assistants, but no, I did not. I guess probably receptionist was the closest thing I did to customer service. Death threats, damn.
Yeah, it was
Thank you,
definitely
John Thomas.
interesting.
Wow.
I remember there was one night I was mid migraine. I was on the bathroom floor, like throwing up because my head was splitting. And I remember looking at my phone dinged, and it was somebody messaging me about where their fucking Star Wars game was. And I just turned my notifications off and threw it across the room. I
Why
was
do these
like,
people think they can talk to people like that? Like,
and it
when I
was
order a
aggressive.
shirt from the loft and it's delayed another week, I'm not like, "Where the fuck is this cardigan?" It's like life goes on. I don't know.
It was interesting. And like I always tried to help people as much as I could. Like there was people just like, "Hey, I submitted a ticket like 2 weeks ago and I haven't heard anything back." I'm like, "Okay, send me the number and I'll chat with the support manager and I'll see if we can like expedite this." Like that kind of stuff. Like I was always trying to go out of my way to help people in the community as much as I could. I didn't have all the power, but I could always try to direct them in to where they needed to go.
What type of people would be the angriest or, like, would you get the most complaints from?
The ones with the furry profile pictures.
Okay, so furries are not the favorite customer.
Not
Yeah.
all of them. We had some really good ones in the community. There was some people with furry profile pictures that were fantastic. But a common denominator was a particular profile picture.
A particular type. Okay, that's interesting. And it's not even like it's your job to, like, mail out games. Like, you're not the
Mm-mm.
one, like, putting together boxes, putting stamps on.
I had one comment like, "Why the fuck are you responding to Twitter whenever you should be mailing out my game?" Just like, that's not what I get paid
How
for.
late would these games be? Like, how long are these people waiting?
I mean, on the sites there, it specifically says in the product details that production can take anywhere from 4 to 6 months for a
Okay.
standard edition because they are pre-orders and production starts after a pre-order window closes.
Okay.
And then everything has to start going through all like the final approvals and then the sampling, manufacturing, like, and then having to go through customs, which is a fucking nightmare. Like, it's
So they might not even begin to make it. Like, let's say you order it, they might not even start to make it until what, several weeks or maybe even a month later.
mhm.
Yeah, I get it. They're impatient. They've already waited like 6 months. So they're
And
like,
so I could
"Ugh."
I could
That's not your fault.
understand it. I
Yeah,
understood it completely. And like collector's editions took longer than that because there's multiple aspects, multiple components within one that has to go through different manufacturers and you have to there's it all goes through a separate processes. So,
right. Fealty was physically attacked multiple times while working at Radio Shack back in the day and plenty of death threats. Fealty, you look like someone who would work at Radio Shack. Wow, that's
Classy's
interesting.
asking me where I got the swords. So one was from my brother-in-law for Christmas, and then the other one was from my bosses at LRG for Christmas.
Oh, wow. So, like, they liked you enough to give you a really thoughtful Christmas gift, but not enough
I
to.
will say they treated us so well. Like they did go above and beyond whenever it comes to like being personable with and like trying to meet everybody and trying to learn everything about the employees. Like actually my Christmas present from this year, like I was huge into gargoyles back in the day. And so they got me a gargoyles
Wow.
Goliath figure.
Ooh.
So
He looks like purple, what's his face? The
Than-
guy who snapped? Purple
Thanos.
Thanos. Yeah.
So I mean, they like, and I I've told them like I'm not upset with them. I am
You're just
hurt about the
yeah.
decision,
You're not angry, you're
but
just disappointed.
basically that's the
What
best
parents
way
say.
to say that
Mhm.
is I wish they would have had my back. Um, but at the same time, like off.
They caved to the mob. They totally did.
Mhm. So
Um, from Camden, people are nuts. Glad you left limited run games. Any company that caves to one person is weak and doesn't deserve your hard work. I mean, it seems like they did appreciate you for a time, but again, the pressure of this mob mentality, like, oh, we have to do something. And it's like, I hope companies take note and go, when you feel this pressure, you have to do something. I hope they take a beat and like calm down and not lose a really good employee over it. You know, I don't know what if the PR is worse than losing you, but it's
it'll
it's
be
very
okay.
messy.
On
Yeah.
my end, I'll be
You're
okay.
gonna be great. Yeah.
I'll figure it out. I've been through like I actually have a tattoo on my arm that says come what may because I can take whatever life
Oh
has
my
to throw at
god.
me.
I thought for a second you were gonna be like, "I actually have
Ah,
a tattoo on my
see,
wrist that said limited run games." I was
I
gonna be
don't
like,
know if you can see it.
"No."
No, no.
As
I
soon
know
as I
better
got
than
my
that.
community manager position, I got my limited run games tattoo. I'd be like,
No, it's
"No."
I've been through a lot in life and I've had my own share of difficulties and this is just another bump in the road and I know I'll get through it.
Does this make you less likely to want to work for another gaming company?
No. I would love to stay in the gaming industry. And I've it's my happy place. Like I it's something I truly love being involved in. I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know what my next step is. I've had a few different companies DM me wanting to chat. So
That's
thank you to
good.
them. Thank you to them. Um but I'll I'll figure it out. I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do. I'll probably dabble in some more content creation, while I'm, uh, trying to find what my next step in life is gonna be.
Yeah, sounds like you've definitely got options. I did see a few people in the chat saying like, "Gary, you should do YouTube videos, like you should make content." So that's good to see. All right. Wow. You have a very good attitude about this. You're very professional. You're not sounding like scorched earth. You have like you're very level-headed.
I'm a kill 'em with kindness kinda gal. I grew up in the
Yes, I
South.
feel that.
Like,
Yes, I feel a
I was
bless
the
your heart
middle
coming
kid.
on. Yeah.
I was the middle kid. I was always the mediator growing up. Like, I was the one who was keeping my siblings from ripping each other's throats out. Like,
Oh,
that's
middle child?
yep.
That makes sense. Mhm.
Yep. So my
Middle
I
children make great employees. They really do.
so it I that I always I've always tried to be an optimist. Like in everything that I do. Like I'm married to a pessimist. I'm just like, all right, like stop looking at it like that.
Aw.
Like look at things my way. Like it'll be
Yeah.
okay. Everything will be fine. So
Yeah, you have a good attitude, and that's the thing is, looking forward, whatever country whatever, like, company that's gonna hire you is, of course, going to, like, read up on all this stuff, and it's kind of nice in a way, like, if they're a super lefty company, they might not touch you, so it's
which
like,
is understandable.
if any which is like, but why would you wanna work for them anyway? Because it's like,
Hmm.
this would just happen all over again, so any company who shows interest in you now, this bullshit is not gonna happen again.
Hmm.
'Cause they wouldn't, they'd be like, "Oh, that looks bad. We don't wanna cave." It's a good lesson for employees and managers and people who are in positions to hire and fire to just, like, look at this and be like, "Ugh, okay."
I want to like my biggest thing is I want to come out like I don't want to burn any bridges. I want people to show that I can be civil in a highly stressful situation and a life-changing situation. I think that is a good skill to have. Um and I hope that people will see that and appreciate that.
Is there anything you would have done differently?
No.
No. No
No.
regrets, no
Nope.
regrets. That's the other tattoo. Awesome. Dude, Kara, I'm just so proud of the way you handled everything. I like that you're going around, doing appearances, talking about your story. You're handling it like really like so maturely in typical middle child fashion. You're really just like crushing it. Where can people find you, follow you? What are you working on? What do you
Well, I'm
wanna
not working anywhere right now.
Oh, you're free agent. She's available.
You can find me at on Twitter and Instagram at Carolyn0326. I'll probably start streaming on Twitch again. It's just Carolyn. I have a link tree in my Twitter bio if you want to find my Etsy shop or anything like that, or give me something to do while while I have this
Yes.
free time.
Definitely stream. Why not? Like, build up your YouTube, make videos. That's a great way to pass the time till you figure out your next step.
Mhm.
People would love to see your stuff. Karis, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you to the chat for your comments and
Thank you, chat. You're
questions.
awesome and you're beautiful.
Good chat. Very well behaved chat today. Very proud of all of you. Uh, and we will see you next time.